just kind of look after everything. There's operations, general of operate. Wow, that was terrible.
It's General of Operations.
General of Operations.
I love it.
Were you the ones? I heard there were some guys arm wrestling.
Don't even start.
You're watching Shift Happens Beyond the Boxes, where we take a look at the inner workings of the moving industry.
Hey guys, Jason Bergenske here with Shift Happens Beyond the Boxes. Today I got Mark, a little podcast you probably heard, Movified. Go ahead, Mark.
That's right. And we got Jason Bergenske here, also with MoveitPro and Make Shit Happen.
That's pretty much just a play on words.
Yeah. Let's just make it happen. And you know what, guys? You are in for a treat, because instead of us going, let's be on each other's podcast, it's going, we both are business owners.
Yep.
We've both been in the movie industry. This poor guy still is. You got into the tech.
Yeah,
and
sure.
we both have podcasts, that we really just want to help educate the industry and teach and learn for being in the industry for this long. And I think kind of around the same age as well too.
Yeah, I'm 40.
43.
Yeah, we're close. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, we're here at Legends Retreat, which is pretty sweet. We can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You got to speak today, so that was pretty cool.
I did. This is great. It was definitely interesting because I felt like I didn't tell my wife how long I was going to be on. And so when I finished, she goes, well, how did everything go? I said, well, I kept it under 45 minutes, just shy of it. So you were on that long? And I said, yeah. She goes, did you at least pause?
Yeah, you did great.
I think it did. So yeah, it was a pleasure. I really always enjoyed intimate settings.
Sure.
I found that you can go to any kind of conference, whether you're part of a band line, whether you're part of any type of industry, where if you're going to go to a conference, you're like 500 people there.
Yeah.
Unless you are coming with a really solid game plan, it's so hard to network.
Yeah.
It's also, you kind of get sucked into the hoorah, everything that's going on, that when you actually have an opportunity to only have 30 people, 50 people, even under 100, I find that you get this really sense of everybody opens up.
Sure. It's more intimate, way more intimate.
Way more intimate. Everybody come in and enjoys themselves. This mansion is wild.
It's a pretty cool place.
It's a very, very cool place. I mentioned in our day one recap, if there was a natural disaster, I want to be.
There's everything to do.
There's everything possible.
Yeah.
And a lazy river.
Yeah.
The world's ending, but hey, man, I'm floating around this lazy river until that machine shuts off.
Yep.
Pull up the generators, right?
Yep.
So, but it's also great because, you get a spot where everybody gets to hang out. And then after the speakers, it's almost like you get to sit with everybody and recap the entire day.
Yeah.
Then splitting off and everybody's going to a different hotel, everybody's splitting up, going out for dinner.
Yeah.
You're kind of confined to this one area to really hold
it's organized confinement,
Right.
And that's the whole thing. Typically when you go to, which all events are great, you should go to tons of events, but kind of what we do with the Legends Retreat is try and really make it more intimate. We kind of max out around 50 people, which is about what we got here. And it forces people in a good way to really be able to spend time together. And we're not competing. There's no competition here. Everyone is, from, $500,000 a year moving companies to, I think Larry's probably the biggest one here, $65-70 million a year.
100%.
And you're, the guy that's doing $500,000 a year can sit and have dinner with Larry, who's doing $70 million a year and just talk to him. And that's hard in a normal scenario. That wouldn't normally happen. You know what I mean? And so the amount of information you can pull out of that and putting a platform together where that can happen, I think is what really drives us and makes us want to do it. And I think that's what's
meeting
cool.
Larry for the first time at a moving tent event.
Yep.
Much larger atmosphere.
Yep.
And everybody was through pull.
Yep.
Everybody wants to talk. I was looking at just quickly get up for like 3 minutes on a dolly dash.
Sure.
To be in a setting like this, especially if you're under 2 million, if you're like even the 1 million and under mark, like this is the type of events that you should be attending, because you get this opportunity where there is usually at least 5 to 10 people in this group that have been in the industry either much longer or that had just roller company at an exponential rate.
Yeah.
That you're going to learn something. There's going to be some nuggets drops
for sure.
At that, 5:30 dinner time, or the, 7 o'clock sitting on a patio and
or bowling competition, or
exactly,
you're spending time together. That's
exactly for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that we're just, we've done a lot of events. We go back with the moveitpro side back to when AMSA was around, the AMSA, which obviously is gone now, but we used to go to those conventions and there's 1,000 people there. And so you would go as a vendor, you'd set up a booth, you'd do this, and you'd try and do networking or even regular attendee. But yeah, as soon as the event's over, everyone scatters.
Gone.
Everyone, the people go obviously back to the hotel room. Some cliques or groups will go to a restaurant together or whatever. But for the most part, it's over. The networking's kind of over. And as a vendor, kind of our key is around 7, 8 o'clock, you'd hit the bar. Right. Because that's where, they're coming back after dinner and they'd go there. But just being able to set up.
Sign you up and see.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You need another drink? You ready yet? No? Let me get another Jack and Coke. No. But, that's what we love it so much. Our goal with this from the beginning with Legends Retreat, I said, this is our 3rd year. I said, I don't really care if we make money with this. Legends Retreat, truly. I mean, our goal is to break even. First year we lost money. Totally okay with it.
I feel like you lost money because your promo video in the first year was you with the gun machine.
Probably.
Flaring money to do a driveway. I don't think I'll ever forget it. It's going to be like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Give me a break. What the fuck is going on here? It was so great.
Yeah. And then second year was gangbuster. And then this year was really good. We sold out. So, I think those going into, the difference versus the big events is kind of what we like.
I don't think putting on these events, and I've talked to, Wade and Chad for the movie.
Sure. For Titans. Yep.
I talked, I'm obviously like best friend with Austin when he was doing all his Movers and Shakers events. Me and Matt, at one point, we were like, we could put on a smaller mastermind kind of retreat. Tim Kropp put the Built to Move.
Yep.
You can sit down and talk to any one of us. You're not there to really make money. In the team, and if you're a big Alex Hormozi fan, if you follow a lot of those types of keynote speakers, they're not going, hey, let's put on a conference. You are going to make money.
Yep.
It's really about who are the speakers and then having a call to action. Just like when we go to do, if you're going to do any kind of marketing material, what is your call to action? At the end of the day, are you just sitting here talking, or are you actually trying to have some type of execution? Where are you going to be, at the end of this conversation? Because you're just wasting time.
Yeah. Yep. And so it's been really good for us. So we're really happy with where it's at, where it's going. The big thing for us that's hard, which kind of sucks, is there's not many bigger houses in Florida. There are some, so this one's just under 30,000 square feet. Wow. But the big part of this house that makes it work for an event like this is the theater. Right. That theater, we can fit, we move furniture. When our team gets here, we move furniture around in the house. They have couches and stuff in the theater. We move those out, bring in chairs. But we're squished in there with around 45 people, and it's pretty tight, other than the guys that are up front, VIP, but in the back, it's pretty tight. But most homes this size, most of them don't even have big theaters like that. They fit 12 people and that's it.
Sure.
That's what holds us back is the theater part. And
but you know what though? If I had to give any key advice, I would never change it to go bigger. Yeah. Because it's about scarcity. Why do you think when we book moves, we're always like, you better book today. Yeah. Because we're full from an event. You might have 10 trucks, only 3 booked that day, but guess what we're saying?
End of the month, we know it's going to be booked.
We're actually pretty full. We only got one last spot left, and that scarcity makes people want to book. And the reality is that, hey, listen, if you want to be part of this event, get in because we only have these spots. I actually despise the fact at events where they go, these are the spots. And then after they go, but we're also doing it virtually. Instead of, well, then I could just say, like, why did I come? You seriously are trying to make an extra $1. And I love you guys that are doing it, but at the end of the day, it's going, no, if you missed it.
And that was a big thing. Like our whole thing was, we could do virtual tickets. I said, no, I want people there because you need to experience it. And I think that's a big part of it. And that makes it, truthfully, there's probably more to learn after the seminar portion of our event than there is during the seminar part. Meaning like, obviously all the speakers that speak and all of that, you're listening. It's a one-way feedback for the most part. You're hearing what they're saying, but you're not asking them questions for the most part during that time. but it's what happens afterwards. It's when they're sitting at, like we talked about, sitting at dinner, sitting around the pool, sitting whatever, when you're actually having a conversation with them, that is because of the event that you wouldn't normally have. And that's where you're pulling so much information.
Totally.
Mark, what are you guys doing for marketing up there in Canada? What are you guys doing? Like, what did you do with this? How did you scale? How did you buy that other company? Like, you're having that communication where Mark's going to sit there and talk to you, versus if you're at a virtual event, you're not going to get that. You're only hearing the speaker. So I think that's what's really cool with it.
I know we've talked a lot about the event and putting on, small, intimate conferences. Where I kind of want to get to, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let's go. You grew up in a moving household.
Sure.
Dad had the moving company. You were heavily involved in the moving company. Pivot.
Yeah.
Get into software.
Yep.
What made you want to do that decision? How did you even think about developing we need a better software?
Sure.
Like, what was going through your mind to go, like, how do I pivot out of following my dad's dreams?
Yeah.
It's only because I mean, I was speaking with your dad this morning, and it's not like, I sold it in 1995.
Yep.
Jason was 20 and he was going to school to be a computer engineer kind of thing. It's but in during COVID, it said, peace out.
Yeah.
Let's sell the trucking business, everything else, keep the warehouse and keep the assets. But at the same time too, moveitpro's been around for a lot longer than pre-COVID.
Yep.
So where did that happen? And especially for those that are watching, I mean, the reality is you don't have to be stuck in the industry. You need to think about innovation, especially now.
Yep.
Everybody's going, I've got an AI app for this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to automate this. I'm going to do this. And it's happening. But to go as far as going, there's a problem, I need to fix it. Let's build CRM.
Yep.
How did that?
Here's a word from one of our sponsors.
Running a moving company can be a challenge, especially when it comes to staffing during peak seasons. That's where Lion's Den booking service comes in. We understand the unique needs of moving companies and offer a solution that makes staffing easy and efficient. With Lion's Den, you gain access to a network of reliable professionals ready to assist you at a moment's notice. Our pay-per-minute model allows for flexible scheduling, so you only pay for the time you use. Let us do the hunting, booking, selling for you. And with dedicated support from our team, help is always just a click away. Sign up now and enjoy a 25% discount for the first 3 months of service. Take advantage of this exclusive offer to streamline your operations and maximize your profitability. Join Lion's Den booking service today and revolutionize the way you manage your moving business.
Yeah. So, interesting thing, like Mark said, so my dad and my grandmother bought that moving company back in 85. It was 84 actually. It was before I was born. So there's pictures of me when they're building the new warehouse, and I'm in a baby blanket, and my dad's holding me in front of the orange grove that is now still the facility we still own. So that's kind of how far back I go. As a child, I was causing havoc on four-wheel dollies, going through the halls of the facility and crashing the forklift and all that fun stuff that probably your son is going to end up doing, or if he hasn't already done.
Right? It's crazy. Kind of the same
because it's the same thing. And so kind of growing up as a kid, you're like, I'm gonna work with dad and I'm gonna do this, and which is exciting until you get to realize how hard moving is.
Right.
And the times when dad's like, hey, I need help out, we got crews out and guys are short or whatever, can you help? And I'm like, no, I don't want to help.
You're
but
15, 16,
you're going out of the truck. Yeah. But obviously did that. I had, fresh out of high school, I opened a photography studio and did video and photography, did fairly well with that, sold it in 2008 and made some money. After that, not long, my dad was Shriners Hospitals for Children. He was becoming the CEO for Shriners Hospitals for Children, 22 hospitals, 6,000 employees.
Wow.
And he was going to be gone over the next several years, about 300 days a year, traveling all over the world.
Jeez. And your mom was okay with that?
Yeah, she was fully part of it. And it was neat. Yeah.
See you later.
No, she traveled with him. And my dad kind of came to me, and it was, again, at this point, I'm kind of like, I don't really want to be in the moving business. Like, we had owned the moving company for a long time. My grandmother, started it with my dad, when they bought it. And, as a kid, I remember going to the office and my grandma's there. This is back in the day. They smoked in the office. Like, this is in the 90s,
flashback early.
Yeah, I mean, like
my mom's office, everybody's smoking cigarettes.
Yep. And so I grew up with this, and which is weird because you kind of like, I didn't want to continue that. And part of it was because I saw how hard the moving company was for my dad. You know, the moving industry as a whole, you know, my dad did very well. Obviously, the moving company, we did very good, but it was at a sacrifice. You know, he was getting calls on Saturdays at, 6:00 at night, a truck broke down, 2 states away, or, guys not showing up. The typical things that every moving company owner knows.
And those sometimes that every entrepreneur, I mean, we see it on the wall all the time for the guys that go, I was putting 80, 90 hours in, and you stop and think and be like, weren't you married? Like, didn't you have a couple kids?
Yeah.
It's like, where were you?
Yep.
And then it's, I was helping and supporting my company. I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you're not
you got to support your family
if you don't
too.
have a good balance, if your kids are watching this, like, it's one of those things I always say is my son, like I said this morning, my son yesterday, even though there's a time change, everything else that had come to me on this trip, I was like,
you're getting up early.
Get up. We're going to the gym. Get on the treadmill. Because that's what happens when I go on trips. You're going to go work out. And you're going to be active, and you're going to be polite, and you're going to introduce yourself, and and hold true to it. Because
he gave a firm handshake when I first met him too.
I told him, 8 years old, right? You're walking into this house. Just before we walked to this house, I looked at him and says, let's do a handshake with it quickly. And he gave me a weak handshake. I said, stiffen it up, and you give a solid handshake.
He did.
Every person that you meet, you give a solid handshake to. And it's to instill in him, because I don't want to instill in him going, mom and dad get home at 6, 7 o'clock and they sit on the couch. Or dad's gone constantly and he's working till 10 o'clock and he has no time for you because we don't think about it. But I know there's the little Mark that goes, man, my dad was gone when I had a tournament.
Sure.
When I had something that I really wanted to be in, he was working. Why would I ever buy the would I ever want to do what he's doing? Because I have the pain inside as a kid of, not being there. So when you can grow up and go, man, my dad was there. He ran a business. He gave time to me. He took me on trips. He did this and this. All my son's going to see, and he doesn't even want to be like a moving owner, but he's going to be an entrepreneur. Sure. He's going to understand how to run a business and have time for his family and his kids and his wife, everything else. And
it's setting his priorities and everything. It's setting him up for success.
So here you are, you're in the business, right? Going on.
No, you're good.
You're in business.
So I end up
20s.
So I end up coming in and, just kind of look after everything. There's operations, general of operate. Wow, that was terrible.
It's general of operations.
General of operations.
I love it.
Sales guys, all this stuff. And I come in and, at this point, my dad was already probably gone, maybe 100 days a year, but he had this team running it. Company's still profitable. Everything's good. But, I come in and everyone's effing off. I mean, everyone's, for the most part, they're just, there's no real good organization. At the end of the day, it comes down, it was my dad's fault, but it also wasn't his fault because, he busted his butt, and all his stuff for Shriners Hospital for Children was donation. It was all time. It was an unpaid position. It's for charity. He had become really good friends with the, operations manager that, thought had his back and all this stuff.
Just hanging out with President Carter here about it today. I mean, come on.
And so I come in and I'm like, this is bad. Like it's just not good. You got the operations managers sitting in the office with a beer can and what are we doing? And he also drives the forklift. Like, we can't have this, And this company's doing millions of dollars a year.
Stretch them out.
So I got more serious and I was like, and you have to remember I'd sold my other company.
What time period are you talking about so everybody understands?
So this is like 2009, probably around 2009.
And at that time, everybody understand, the CRMs that were even out there.
Yeah, they were pitiful. Yeah, it was pitiful.
Absolute garbage. If not, everything was still paper and pen.
Probably, I don't know, 70% of movers were pen and paper at this time. There was maybe 3 CRMs, all of which none of them were continually updated. They were all ones that were built in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, and then they, the owners clapped their hands and said, all right, it's done, let's sell it, and that was it. So anyway, so I said, at this time, we're doing everything pen and paper. My dad is old school. Everything was, if it's not broke, don't fix it. pen and paper. It's worked for, at this time, the company was opened in 1968. So by this time it's 35 years old, something like that. And it is, we're doing, I think at the time we were doing $400,000 a month or something. So a decent sized moving company in early 2000s.
$4 million a year.
And pen and paper though. But this is brutal. And I'm like, I'm of the era of computers.
Sure.
And the internet and like.
Yeah, we were growing up at right at the stage.
Yeah,
like intros coming out every year in elementary school, and the computers are starting to come out.
Yep.
High school,
Oregon Trail and elementary school, whatever. So I mean, it was bad. Like we did an order for service. Someone call in, you give an estimate, you hand wrote it, not hand wrote. I mean, you filled in the sheet. You get off the phone with them, you go file it by their last name. If that person calls, and the filing cabinets in the main area, because the office was decent size, there were several people, so like you didn't keep it in your office. So then when that customer called back, you'd have to put them on hold and then go find their paperwork so you could pull their estimate again. And then if they wanted to book, oh God, that was terrible because you didn't have Google Calendar.
Sure.
You had a book.
Oh yeah.
You had a book with all your trucks listed.
It was a big book, and I was like,
what is this? Yeah, it's a huge book, and it had all your trucks listed.
Yeah.
And you'd go in there. So if Miss Sally calls in, so two things. Say you already gave an estimate to Miss Sally a week ago.
Yeah.
Perfect. Miss Sally calls in. She tells you she's Miss Sally. Hold on one moment. Let me go get your estimate quick. Put her on hold. Of course, she's listening to some wonderful hold music. Back then, it wasn't like, the phone systems we got now. You walk into the receptionist area, you open the filing cabinet, you look for it. You hope it was filed in the right place.
Sure.
A lot of times it wasn't.
oh wait, Sally's name was Jones?
Yeah.
We got 4 Jones with me, all around the same time.
So you grab it, you come back, you say, oh yeah, Miss Sally, I see your estimate here. This is what we were looking at. This is, how many trucks we were going to send. Everything. Perfect. I'd love to book. Perfect. Which day would you like to book for? I'd like to book for Saturday the 30th. You don't have a calendar in front of you. All right, Miss Sally, hold on one moment. Let me go pull a calendar here quick and we'll go look. And you'd walk back into that area. This book was out, so every salesperson could open it. You'd look through it. God forbid you're already booked. Now you had to look at the day before, the day after. You had to go back. But this is how a company that's doing $5 million a year is running.
Okay.
And it was all it knew.
It was
very common.
Yeah.
And I said, this is stupid. Like there's got to be a better way. At this time, Google Calendar's coming out. I think Outlook Calendar, there's options. So we embedded that and switched to like a Google Calendar system. And I said, we got to get software. We got to get CRM. This is stupid. The unfortunate thing at that time, in that era of the moving industry, it was very underserved by technology, period.
We also didn't have the cloud visibility out there as much as well either.
Correct. Yep. And so it just, the technology was way behind. And so, looking at the few options that were there, they didn't check the boxes. Sure. It wasn't, were they better than what we were doing? Yes. But would we be happy with it? Not necessarily. They weren't good. And so I stupidly thought, so in the beginning, moveitpro was never, we're going to sell it. It was, we need something to run our $5 million company.
Sure.
So I started on this endeavor of, I'm going to hire a developer. Oh, wait, developers in the US are $300,000 a year. Like that, we're doing 5 million. I can't spend, that kind of money. So ended up looking at some overseas developers, which didn't go great.
No surprise, especially at that.
Ended up finding a developer in India, a husband and wife who I met in person and started us off phenomenally well. We switched now to in-house, but we went down this road together and started it. And obviously I own all of it. I paid them hourly. At that time I didn't have tons of money. It was, I did well, but it wasn't, I didn't have $10 million sitting in the bank to just write a check and let's do it. So, started off.
As many of us were probably as we're starting off.
Yeah, you're starting off. And so I would pretty much, I'll authorize you guys to work 25 hours a week. 25 hours a week, you bill it. We went through, I think back then it was Odesk, now it's Upwork, which is an online thing. It tracks the hours and whatever. And we went through this. And so, probably, and I don't know what it was, maybe a year later I had, $50,000 or $60,000 in this. All during this, I'm like, Dad, this is going to be a thing. Like we need this for J&J. And he's like, no, we're not switching how we're doing things. And I'm like, I'm switching whether you're going to help or not, but I want you to help. No, I'm not going to do it. Like I don't know if it, whatever. So I said, okay, so I'm going to do it. Fast forward, I got $60,000 into it. He's in town for a couple days and, this is 15 years ago or something like that, 14 years ago. And talking to him, I say, yeah, I got 60 grand. You got what?
Of course, I could imagine that covered it.
And so, it was my money. It wasn't out of the company. Sure. And I said, yeah, and that's not even a tenth of the way.
Right.
He goes, you gotta be kidding me. You can throw it away. Like, it's done. Like, what do you? I said, I'm having this conversation, 2 reasons. 1, I want you either to help with it, or 2, I'm going to go all in. And if I go all in, it means I'm going to have to make it a product, a SaaS, an actual, to sell it. I can't, And he was very encouraging. Don't get me wrong. Always been encouraging, but he said, he didn't see the vision, but an older generation
does understandable because technology wasn't really a thing.
Correct. So
you wanted brick and mortar.
Correct. 100%. And again, it's not bad on him because it's a different time era. You know what I mean? And I said, all right, I'm going all in. And so, during this time, all my friends are buying houses. All my friends are buying fancy cars. All my friends are doing all these things. And excuse the word, I'm eating shit. Like, I'm making good money. I'm busting my butt.
And all the dinner. Yeah. I got beans. All this is a can of beans and some KD.
All this money's going towards the software. And so that's kind of the start of where MoveitPro was. So then now we're like 2011 and kept going. And so it's crazy. 5 years we built MoveitPro. So 2016 was the first customer. So that's a long time for a SaaS company, but completely bootstrapped, no debt.
Back then, especially when you're not shoving like tons and tons of money, you don't have an R&D. You're not getting private equity companies like interested or any angel investor.
Correct.
Or anything else.
We didn't take any outside money.
You're not jumping on a Shark's Tank or a Dragon's Den doing, hey, I got a product, give me some money. You are slowly building something, which really says a lot to who you are. But, I want to kind of fast track now to 2026, where MoveitPro, is definitely a household name, and you have over 1,000 customer clients that work with you. What would you say to the guys? Where I'm going to go with this, but you have companies like Smart Movement, you have companies like Movegistics, you have Supermove, you have MoveitPro. I mean, Salmon uses MoveWork, an Australian moving company. Depending on what works for you.
Sure.
What do you think makes MoveitPro stand out that's different than the other CRMs?
Yeah.
Here's a word from one of our sponsors.
Attention, moving company owners. Are you tired of managing your business with spreadsheets and pen and paper methods? Do you want to streamline your operations, increase your bookings, and look more professional to your customers? Then it's time to switch to MoveitPro software. Our cloud-based platform provides everything you need to manage your moving company in one place, from booking and dispatching to payment processing and customer communication. Plus, with features like GPS tracking, real-time notifications, and detailed reporting, you'll be able to optimize your operations and take your business to the next level. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.moveitpro.com to schedule a free demo today and see how we can help you move your business forward.
So I think there's a couple things. So one, I think there's a lot of phenomenal softwares now. So, I mean, I'm
not really trying to plug this out. So
no, you're good.
With MoveitPro, I'm more just curious. I just sit there and keep it raw.
No, you're good.
And candid.
But the real estate of softwares is completely different than it was when I started MoveitPro. When there was no competition.
Like the last couple of years, especially 100%. With the SaaS company, you have to you go to me, and sorry to kind of cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's only right back to it. Is that you launch your first customer in 2016. We're kind of good till maybe 2020, 2021. And then it's like, wow, everything just needs to move at lightning speed. Because other CRMs are coming in and trying to explode you. That you have to keep up. I feel nervous for you as we're going on this conversation because I'm thinking, man, you actually have to go with your development team going dude, look, we got to kick up. You're trying to do some R&D. You're trying to do research going, hey, let's test out these guys and let's see what's going on here. And how can we make this work with our customers? And then on and on and on. How is that going? What's going through your mind at this time? Do you think you're losing client? What's going on, especially in the last 3-4 years?
Yeah. I think there's different softwares that are good for each moving company. So for ours, you know, kind of what we've seen is, you know, there are some moving companies that'll come to us and we don't work for them. And so they'll go to one of the other platforms. But then we have ones that have been with us for 10 years now.
Yeah, I've talked to
and so that's a big part.
I actually love moveitpro, and I shout out to you guys. And I remember having a conversation with one with a CRM where they're like, "Look, Mark, like we can't customize everything that you're shooting at us. Like, you have to understand that you have to adapt to go, look, 80% is exactly what you want. 20%, you just have to suck it up and go, you either have to make it work." And I remember having conversations with so many people going like, "I'm listening to your story. You need to go with this area. I'm listening to your story. You need to go with that area because it's just not going to work for you." So what do you think stands out with Pro for the ones that not so much that are working for you, but if you were going to say, like in like a couple sentences, who your ideal moving company is, what would that be?
So, I mean, as far as ideal, you know, I don't really know the necessary answer to that, only because we have ones that are, you know, one truck operations all the way up to ones with 30 locations. Ones with 30 locations. I mean, Black Tie Moving, I mean, they're ones, they went to try Smart Moving for something and then they came right back.
Do you guys have accounting built in? See that. That's also a two part.
And then, you know, another thing is, you know, like you said that you have problems with, or I've heard from some softwares that they wouldn't customize stuff.
Sure.
I mean, we have a full-time team of developers, and that's what we do. I mean, we literally will go through a company if it's big enough. Obviously, if a company is doing, you know, pays us $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year, you know, we can't go spend $30,000 in development for them. But you know, some of these bigger companies, they need specific stuff, and we're going out and we're doing it. And in reality, we are the only real moving company that was built for movers by movers.
Right.
They all like to say it, but Toby didn't own a moving company.
No. Well, sure, you know.
A Dark.
I remember from the first conversation with Juan June, it was him phoning moving company owners to understand how to make the software even better. Plus, it's hard with logistics. See,
he had he did some international stuff.
Sure.
But, you know, and again, that's not knocking them, but there's a different understanding that comes from someone that's been out on a truck.
Sure.
Has dealt with scheduling issues, has dealt with all of these things, not just hearing it from people telling them the problems with it. And so, you know, I think those are the big things that like set us aside necessarily there. But there's also different ways of, you know, the way we can do estimating, the way that other softwares do estimating. You know, if you're a flat rate mover only, you know, you might be better with something like MovePoint. MovePoint was built by Leaders Moving and Storage. It's an old system, but it's very flat price. That's all their thing is, flat price. So, I mean, there's just different ones that are good for different, you know, moving companies, but that's the whole thing, is doing demos with different ones and giving real chance. Correct.
Exactly. You want to switch a CRM. Don't just pivot because you sat at a conference and someone was trying to sell you a software. Now, on our side, you know, Smart Moving is a sponsor. Ellis uses Smart Moving. That's not to say that moveitpro isn't 10 times better, or Movistics or Smart Move. You have to find what works for you,
for your company.
And the only way to make that work is by doing demos. If I'm going to go, like, to me, like sitting with Jason and everything else, I'm kind of more like the treat point, like, I almost want to do a demo.
Sure.
Why? Because it's because I want to understand how the system works and go, if there is 80% success rate and 20% that I need to manipulate to make it work for my company, that's way better than going, I switch with CRM, I'm growing. And now I have to pivot my entire company because I wasn't thinking ahead. Going like, okay, great, I'm at 500,000. I'm using the CRM system. I remember we tried a CRM system for a while that we were using called like Move Ninja.
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it.
It was
not much around anymore.
That was very pretty. You know, I'm all about like in a very Apple, you know, I want things super easy and I like the user interfaces. It's the marketing and the branding background now look. And it worked out great. And I wish I actually, you know, look back and go, man, I wish I had that vision going, like you going, I see the problems. We should just build our own software on here and find out what works for you. So go try some demos, especially if you're looking at pivoting and something's not working for you, or you're still at paper and pen. I sure hope not.
I sure hope anybody that's listening to either one of our podcasts has advanced themselves at least to a proper CRM.
Well, and you did, I mean, which is a good point. I mean, in your speech today, which is a big part of it, but you've bought several moving companies.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and butcher it, but essentially you've had one moving company that multiple times you've talked with these people, given them an offer, which was way less than they asked. And part of it was because they didn't have a CRM. They had no systems in place, period.
Nothing.
And you ended up buying that moving company.
For
way less than you originally offered them, because you gave them a chance essentially to go get a CRM, get organized, get all this, and then ended up paying almost half of what you originally offered them, and they accepted.
Yeah.
It's on a CRM now?
Yeah.
But the whole point being is, if you ever want to, which you will want to at some point, you need to build your company to be able to sell it. Whether you sell it or not, you need to build it to be the ability to be able to sell it.
And I want to make something clear on this one too, is that you'll never hear me say that I use a CRM for the same both companies, Salmon and Ellis. I actually use two different CRMs.
Yep.
It's very annoying, but like we've talked about this podcast, is that one company is completely different than the other company.
Yep.
And the CRMs do not work for that company as opposed to that. It'd be great if it did,
Yep.
but it doesn't. So you have to make what works for you in order for you to be able to grow. So that I think, that kind of kicks it off. So
I think that's great. It's been good. To fast forward a little bit. So obviously MoveitPro started selling. We got customers, started selling or getting more staff, built out a building. And within where J&J Metro was, we added on, we actually got rid of some warehouse space built in. And at this point I owned half the moving company with my dad. And before MoveitPro really was making a bunch of money, the plan was he was just going to retire and I was going to buy out the rest of them and I would continue to run the moving company.
Sure.
When he was ready to retire, I realized, which was hard actually, J&J Metro had been in my life my entire life, that it didn't make sense. The money didn't make sense. This is a moving company. At that time, we were doing about $8 million a year, and MoveitPro was at $9 or $10 million a year.
Really?
The profit of MoveitPro is significantly more than a moving company.
Sure.
It's a SaaS product. It's reoccurring revenue, which is big. But then more than that was the stress. The stress of a moving company was compared to the software was a big difference. And it was actually
you're saying that having a IT,
it's a little easier. It's a little easier. I can go on vacations for a month and not worry about where trucks are at or if there's flat tires or, and so that was the big thing and it was actually emotional for me. Like we list the company and we talked to a bunch of our competitors as far as selling, and it was a decision that it was it was the only one that made sense for the family, so.
Just so you all understand, is that me and Jason, when we said, let's sit down and have a fun podcast, we said, let's just have some fun for 20, 30 minutes. And I think, how long we went on here for? 45 minutes. Yeah. Most of 45 minutes. And we're getting in trouble already now from all the staff.
We're getting people to tell us to wrap up.
Hey guys, there's events going on, there's dinner happening, there's this and this. And I really hope you guys enjoy this podcast. It's going to shoot on both of our channels, on our channels as well too. So make sure you guys both check them out, support it, comment. Do you guys like this? I mean, we should probably do a little bit more duos together. I think it's great.
That'd be good.
We have a lot of fun guests. We just want to provide helpful content for everybody. And that's what's really for the industry. So make sure you guys like and subscribe both of our channels. Make sure that you comment. If you guys came to this event and you listened to this episode, tell us what was the best part of this trip. We really want to know. Give me 1, 2, or even 3
takeaways or best things.
Of the trip, and make sure you try Dell.
Yeah.
If you're not using MoveitPro, at least give them a shot. Spend half an hour with one of their people on our team to see, because you can get so suckered in to one software and not try another, and it might work for you. But also, obviously, Smart Moving is a sponsor.
Yep.
So I do have to, send some love to Smart Moving as well too. They're fantastic surrounder.
Yep.
They're not made for everybody, but they're a great software. One of the things I always say to everybody, whether it's CRM or anything, is get out there, market, do it. If you have a big company, you're like, I think I'm good.
Yep.
Go to conferences, get a booth,
Talk to
whatever you
people.
can, talk to people, get out there and make sure that everybody knows who you are. It's the only way you can grow in
sure.
business, no matter whatever you do.
Yep.
So
That's great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool. Well, awesome. It was very good.
Hey, pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Arm wrestled earlier at lunch.
Were you the ones? I heard there were some guys arm wrestling.
Don't even start. Don't even start. The other guy, his bicep really hurts.
Yeah.
My wrist is just.
Well, there's some a bowling competition here in a little bit.
I know.
Tournament.
Should we sign it?
So that's good.
Should we fun? Everybody, I always sign up with Stay Movified. Jason, what about you?
That's it. You guys have a good rest of the day. Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate it. Awesome. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and get notified each time a new one comes out. We'll see you next time.